everyone. How then did he become partial? Like a common man for the sake of Indra and thus kill Indra's enemies. How can a person equal to everyone be partial to some and inimical toward others? That's a valid question. So, Srila Prabhupada in the purport immediately pulls out what Krishna himself says. Samaham sarva bhuteshu name dushosti na priya. I'm equal to everyone. No one is dear to me, nor is anyone my enemy. So this is an important point to understand, that it is like the example Srila Prabhupada also gives is like in a family. You can have many children, you can have 4 or 5 children or whatever, but you'll find that among all your children, one may be very nice to the father or mother. They want to do more. They want to serve the parent. But the others may not be. The others will just take the parents for granted, which is common. We all do that. Because they know the parents are there to take care of them. So they're not going to actually worry so much. But if the child is doing so nicely, serving the parent, then the parent feels this child is special.
Yeah, soft corner for the child.
Yeah, so automatically there's a relation there. So when that happens, it's not that the parent don't like the other children. It's just that this child is giving some reciprocation, and as you said, there's a soft corner. So they want to reciprocate in kind. So that's the difference between the Lord. When he says samaham sarva bhuteshu means that he is equal. He is giving everyone what they require in the material world. The air to breathe, the water to drink, food to eat, and stuff like that. So everyone gets that. And in this particular verse, he's acting like the super soul, and which Prabhupada also mentions it. So the super soul is neutral. He's in everyone's body, in the animal, in the insect, in the tree, in the demon, in the good person also, in the devotee's body. So in that sense, he's equal. He's not denying anyone anything. It's only when you have a relationship, then things change. If you have a relationship, then you can talk to that person, right? Otherwise, you see someone, you'll just say hi, like that. But if you have a relationship, you'll stop, you'll inquire, and there's more intimacy. So that is the point here. The question that Parikshit Maharaj asked is for people who don't know why Krishna is reciprocating favorably to some people or not. So therefore, his question is valid. But Srila Prabhupada's point is the Lord is never not equal. He's equal. He's giving everyone. But there's something else that appears to be not so equal. So then at the end of that paragraph, Srila Prabhupada says, this was the subject of Parikshit Maharaj's inquiry. As a devotee of Lord Krishna, he knew very well that Krishna cannot be partial to anyone. But when he saw that Krishna acted as the enemy of the demons, he was somewhat doubtful. Therefore, he posed this question to Shukadev Goswami for a clear answer. Now, what is this question related to? This is 7th canto. So he's asking from the previous canto. And what was the incident?
He killed... Says right here, Hiranyaksha?
No.
Wait, 7th canto?
6th canto.
6th canto of Vritrasura.
Vritrasura. So Vritrasura was a devotee. So, but he's on the demon side. So he was questioning that. He's saying it doesn't make sense to me. So therefore, and what was it? Indrari, right? So those who are against, right? Indra. So you kill them. So that means you are taking the side of the devatas. So that was his question. Obviously, we should understand that the Lord is beyond the 3 modes of material nature. So this understanding must be there. If he's beyond the 3 modes, then he's not going to take sides. Actually, he's the one who created the 3 modes. He created the universe. He created everything. Therefore, how is it possible for the modes to affect him? Okay, so therefore, the question may sound valid, but the proper nature of the Lord has to be understood. Therefore, the science of God is important. So, what are some of the things that makes you know who God is? That was the question.
Means who God is?
Now, how do you know? You've been in the movement. You've taken the process. So, how would you say who God is if someone would ask you?
God is Krishna.
Okay, that's one way of saying it, but does it make an impact on a person who doesn't know who God is? Right? So,
the source of everything.
cause of all causes. Yes, Madhu.
We are following the footsteps of Acharya.
Okay, you're blindly
Yeah.
following. Okay.
He
Right.
is the super wife.
Huh?
So,
Supreme controller,
Supreme power.
all the six opulences. Six opulences.
Okay, now you say 6 opulences. What are the 6 opulences?
All
Belief
beauty,
in
all,
renunciation.
all renunciation, all fame, all strength, all
strength.
beauty.
Okay, all beauty. So in discussing with people to define God, you have to know something. You just can't say I'm following this. Our practice must make sense to us also. Otherwise, simply saying I follow Krishna, it's just another follower. But why we follow Krishna?
In fact, that question people ask, did you realize whatever you are saying?
Yes, so therefore I'm asking you.
Right? But then we say like,
So when I ask
some-
you, you will think,
Yeah.
and next time it makes more sense for you the same way. Yeah, why you following the process? Usually you're like good classes and you feel comfortable, but what does it do to you all? Does it make you understand? Even if you understand, it's not enough on that level. Okay, how you appreciate, like you were saying, do you understand your relationship with Krishna? Maybe not at the level of a pure devotee, but what is the level you understand Krishna? Why are you doing it? There must be some
Clear reason.
clear reason. Yes. So similarly, Parikshit Maharaj is asking for a clear answer in this situation. Why this Lord is displaying this behavior towards the asuras? So therefore, in the second paragraph, Srila Prabhupada writes, Srila Vishwanath Thakur says, Samasya Khatam Vaishya. Since the Lord is equally disposed toward everyone, how can he be partial? Because he said, Samaham Sarva Bhuteshu. Priyasya Khatam Asureshu Priti Abhavaha. The Lord being the super soul is extremely dear to everyone. So that's the answer. Okay, why then should the Lord display unsympathetic behavior toward the asuras? How is this impartial? Suridascha khatam kesh asau hardam. Since the Lord says that He is Suridam Sarvabhutanam, the well-wisher of all living entities, how could He act with partiality by killing demons? These questions arose in the heart of Parikshit Maharaj, and therefore he inquired from Shukadeva Goswami. So you also have to ask the same thing, and then you will understand the answers properly. If you don't, then you have to experience certain things in your own life, then you can move on. Yeah. Otherwise, you are stuck at that level.
how can we translate our experience to somebody? That's what people ask. We all have some experience. That's
So
what
then
we
say
are
it in your own way, words. It doesn't have to be in the words of
Scripture.
Acharya. It is. When your realization is there,
Yeah.
but it has to be your own words. That is your realization, right? For example, you ate some prasadam. So someone is asking, how is it? Let's say in Pandal program, you ate first. People are coming behind you. How's the prasadam? I want to go and eat. So then, how you say, right? From your experience, you say. It's not from speculation. Yeah. So you say it tasted good, but I didn't like the charge. It had some sand in it, and then the rasgulla was too dry. like that. All you can say is so wonderful, everything was perfect, like that. So it's a realization. You say it from your level, and actually, when you say it from your level, it has more positive impact than if you simply quote from Shastra. I'm not saying it has no impact. Shastra has impact, but your realization makes the other person relish easily. Right? Like if you quote from the law books, the judge will understand, but the lay person don't know what is happening. So similarly, realization you give from your level, the lay people have find it easy to understand. Okay.
बाह्यस्यार्थसुरगणैः
नान्यस्यार्थः सुरगणैः
साक्षान्निःश्रेयसात्मनः
साक्षान्निःश्रेयसात्मनः
नैवासुरेभ्यो विद्वेषो
नैवासुरेभ्यो विद्वेषो
नोद्वेगाश्चागुणस्य हि
नोद्वेगश्चागुणस्य हि.
Lord Vishnu himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a reservoir of all pleasure. He's continuing, Parikshit Maharaj. Therefore, what benefit would he derive from siding with the demigods? What interests would he fulfill in this way? Since the Lord is transcendental, why should he fear the asuras? And how could he be envious of them? So, excellent questions. Things that you should understand is when he says Lord Vishnu is the reservoir of all pleasure, what does it mean? What does it mean? Huh?
Raso by Saha.
Raso?
By Saha, he has the pleasure, is the abode of pleasure, rasas, all the rasas.
He is the source of all rasas. Okay, but what does it mean here when he says reservoir of all pleasure? Both ways. You can get full pleasure from anyone with any kind of rasa is complete with him because he is complete. And he is a fountainhead of all rasas. Okay, Bhakti Rasamrita, the fountainhead of all pleasure. Or whoever in whatever rasas they'll find it. The point is, reservoir of all pleasure means another understanding you should have is because he's the source of all pleasure, he doesn't need any other
outside source for
to make himself
Atmarama.
happy. He doesn't need. He's already self-satisfied. Yes. Atmarama. Okay. Or even in the Swarat. Janmadhyasya. Yeah. Swarat. So he is complete. So when one who's complete, he doesn't need another source. He is the creator of everything. So how can he get more pleasure of what he created? That is one of the understanding here. He's saying. So if he creates something that is inferior, three modes of material nature, so why would he even find enjoyment in that? So he doesn't find enjoyment in that. So why would he find enjoyment in someone who is within that embodiment, demigods, in the three modes, right? They are in the mode of goodness. So what interest has he got? Yeah? So that is a good question. So Prabhupada also says that we should always remember the distinction between spiritual and material. So again, my point is that, as Prabhupada says, what is spirit and what is material. So in discussion, when people talk to you, you have to say, this is what the definition spirit means and this is what is matter. Okay? Material qualities. Anything that is material have material qualities. Spiritual existence is beyond Nishtray Guna Bhava Arjuna. He says that also, rise above the three modes because they hold you in the material realm. But if you give up those and act on the transcendental platform, you are not affected by those things. And so why must even Krishna say to Arjuna, right? Because they are different. Happiness derived in matter is
temporary.
And
In the end, it will be material.
yeah, it depends on passion or goodness. Okay.
Flickering.
Yeah.
Short.
It is temporary and not real actually. I mean, yeah, real but temporary. The place is Dukalayama Shashvatam. Yeah. full of misery, and the pleasure you get is
It's not
actually
satisfying.
it's not complete.
Yes.
Yeah. Material happiness is not complete, and it's very short term only, because of the very nature of matter, as you said, is temporary. Okay. Krishna is absolute, whether he's in the material world or spiritual world. You have to also understand, when he's in the material world, he's still absolute and spiritual. Okay, he doesn't get covered by matter. My words, they say that, but he doesn't take on a material. What does he say in the 4th chapter?
4:30.
No, 4:6. Look.
No, that's close.
Huh? Remember, Arjuna asked him, how is it that you can remember everything?
Oh yeah.
So, come on, you all have to look at it. Look. Huh?
Jopi.
Ah, now everybody knows. So he says, my nature. So these are the ways you can talk to people also. Krishna already defined in Bhagavad Gita, he is spirit, and he doesn't get covered by matter. Therefore, his body is always transcendental, ever existing. He doesn't take birth like all of us. Okay, so therefore, Srila Prabhupada says he's absolute, whether he's in the material world or spiritual world. And then Prabhupada continues, when we see partiality in Krishna, this vision is due to his that means we see through the material vision, the eye of Maya, material energy. So material energy means you see what is good, what is bad, based on your
own consciousness.
experiences and consciousness. So depending on your modes, you're going to see certain things differently. If you're on the mode of goodness, you'll see certain things as good and wonderful. Mode of passion, you see certain things as good and wonderful. Mode of ignorance, you see certain things like that. And therefore, one sees different things differently. Otherwise, how could his enemies attain salvation after being killed by him? So the second point is, he is still absolute. So whether they are enemies or not, they still get perfection or liberation, so to speak. Now, the another point he says, everyone who deals with the Supreme Personality Godhead gradually acquires the qualities of the Lord. That means everyone. Whether you are an enemy of Krishna or you are his devotee. So the more they deal with Krishna, they will get the qualities of the Lord eventually. So just like Kamsa also, no? He's meditating, and finally he got killed, he got liberated also. Yeah. So liberation is at the platform, the first level of coming to Godhead. Yeah. So then Prabhupada also then defines again, the more one advances in spiritual consciousness, the less he is affected by the dualities or duality of material. What is duality?
Both hot and
Experiencing
cold and
Experiencing. But they are experiencing what?
Both sides, basically happiness and
Yeah, but where they are experiencing it?
in the mind.
In the mind, yes. In the material
world. Yeah.
consciousness.
Material consciousness.
In the mind, yeah. So if you, as long as you're in material consciousness, you'll see dualities. Spiritual consciousness, you'll see, you'll experience it, but what do you see?
You see, the Krishna is being the higher truth.
You see Krishna's hand in it. Yeah. That's a difference, totally different. Or the Lord is doing this to me, or the Lord wants me to experience this. Like that. So if we go through that, then we can understand we are covered by the material energy because of duality. But the Lord is not. He's beyond that. Therefore, if he's not covered by all this, then there must be something else why he favors the suras against the asuras. So therefore he says, Prabhupada says, he certainly must be freed from these qualities. He's always transcendental. He's absolute, whether he kills or bestows his favor. Right? So, envy, friendship, all of these are based on our imperfection. Right? Someone who supports me, he's my friend. Someone who's against me, he's my enemy. So, enemy and friendship, the same person. Right? He talks to you nicely, then he's your friend. Then when in front of others, he didn't speak nicely, so he's my enemy. Same person.
Mental platform.
Yeah, so these are all material platform, and we see through the material vision. Krishna doesn't see like that. Just like if our relationship with Krishna is always the same, it doesn't differ. It's how we want that Krishna tries to satisfy us. So when we want to fight with Krishna, then Krishna will fight with us. When we want to be his enemy, then Krishna will say, by your desire, I'm doing this. Therefore, he's actually doing it based on our desire. So therefore, where's the partiality? Right? It's true, right? Like Hiranyakashipu wanted to fight with Narayan. So he came and fought with him. Not that he didn't want to fight with him. The way you reciprocate, I will reciprocate. So the Lord reciprocates in kind, actually. So therefore, he is equal in that sense. And the devotee want to serve him. So the Lord comes. But still there's some difference still, yeah.
So that is the loving reciprocation.
Yeah, and that goes beyond this things that we are talking about, how you desire also. Okay. Yeah, and then Prabhupada also says, we are always in fear of something. But the Lord is never fearful. You never see him in any situation he's fearful. He may act dramatically, but, oh, I'm worried about this, but he's never fearful. Right? As Krishna, he always went and fought with his demons, all the demons. Okay.
But Yogamaya, like for example,
that's different.
With Yashoda Maya,
he shows emotions.
Anxiety.
Yeah, all those are different. But he's not fearful of anybody, actually. Except when it's with his devotee, with Mother Yashoda, that's a different situation. That is to enhance the Vatsalya Rasa. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Okay, then Prabhupada then continues. The Lord, he's actually independent. He likes to be dependent upon his devotee. That is his own, he wants that. And Prabhupada now defines that as Krishna's mercy. He wants to have that relationship. So similarly, he does not fear the Asuras because that's his mercy with them. Remember I said they want to fight, so he wants to fight with them also. Thus, there's no question of partiality. It's all based on our vision, how we view the Lord himself. Okay. So Prabhupada already answered all, and we'll hear Sukadeva Goswami answering the text 3.
Itina sumahabhaga Narayana gunan prati Samshayas sumahanjata Tadbhavam chetumarhati.
O greatly fortunate and learned Brahmana, whether Narayana is partial or impartial, has become a subject of great doubt. Kindly dispel my doubt with positive evidence that Narayana is always neutral and equal to everyone. Okay, so we'll continue to texts 4 and 5.
Shri Rishir Uvacha Sadhu Prishtam Maharaja Haresh Charitam Adbhutam Yad Bhagavata Mahatmyam Bhagavad Bhakti Vardhanam Giyate Paramam Punyam Rishibir Naradadibihi Natva Krishnaya Munaye Kathayishye Hare Katham.
The great sage Sukadeva Goswami said, my dear king, you have put before me an excellent question. Discourses concerning the activities of the Lord, in which the glories of his devotees are also found, are extremely pleasing to devotees. Such wonderful topics always counteract the miseries of the materialistic way of life. Therefore, great sages like Narada always speak upon Srimad Bhagavatam, because it gives one the facility to hear and chant about the wonderful activities of the Lord. Let me offer my respectful obeisances onto Srila Vyasadeva and then begin describing topics concerning the activities of Lord Hari. Huh? Yenatma Suprasidati. Yeah. When we discuss about Krishna, it automatically satisfies the heart. Yeah? Yad Krita Krishna Samprashna Yenatma Suprasidati. Yeah. Like that. So basically he's saying very simply, one thing is, as Prabhupada defines that here when he says Krishnaya Munaye, it refers to Vyasadeva.
Krishna.
Yeah, because Krishna means one who's darkish. Okay, so the Muni who's darkish in complexion, like Krishna, is Vyasadeva, like that. Okay. So basically here is that's a very good question, excellent question. Thank you for asking, because it's what makes all of us happy when we talk about the Supreme Lord, which is what we're trying to do also here. Text 6.
निर्गुणोऽपि यजो व्यक्तो भगवान् प्रकृते परः स्वमाया गुणमाविश्य भाद्याभादाकृतां गतः.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is always transcendental to material qualities, and therefore he is called Nirguna, or without qualities. Because he is unborn, he does not have a material body to be subjected to attachment and hatred. Although the Lord is always above material existence, through his spiritual potency he appeared and acted like an ordinary human being, accepting duties and obligations, apparently like a conditioned soul. So this is all bewildering. Okay. He's always transcendental to material quality. He's always absolute. And therefore, he's called Nirguna. Nirguna means not of material qualities. Okay. He has guna, but it is spiritual guna. Okay. Generally, when we say guna, immediately we think of three modes. But here, this Nirguna means his spiritual qualities. Okay. So that is important. The other way of understanding Nirguna is he has no material qualities. Okay. So when you read it, Nirguna, you mean he has no qualities. So, but actually that's not the right way of thinking. He has no material qualities. The key word you have to apply here is material. So he has no material. Spiritual quality. Yeah, he has, he has a body just like us. He behaves just like us in many ways, but better.
So right.
Yeah, so that's the difference between him and us. So he, through his spiritual potency, he has many potency. Generally, he comes to this material world through his Yogamaya potency. He appeared. With the Yogamaya potency, he can act differently. Of course, Srila Prabhupada again quotes from the 9th chapter, very famous verse, Avajananti ma buddha manusittanam vashishtam. What he's trying to say is people who lack the knowledge. That means people who are covered by the mode of ignorance. That means people who are in the gunas. They cannot understand. So it's another way of understanding it. If you take up spiritual qualities, then you can understand Krishna. If you identify with the material nature, then it's hard to understand Krishna. So that therefore this guna plays a game. Which guna do we want to be? And accordingly, the guna that is attractive to Krishna, that's what he's going to help you. Okay, and if you are in a different type of guna, then you will be under the modes of material nature, and you may sometimes be successful, and sometimes you won't be. Sometimes you have more of goodness, very strong, so you act very nicely. So sometimes you have more changes to more of ignorance, then you act like a fool. The same person. So then, how can Krishna, relate to you like that, right? So thinking like that, you can also say, according to our nature, then we will act according to the instructions of Krishna or against his instructions. And then he becomes favorable or not favorable. Just like a teacher is teaching, the student is not listening. He may try so hard. Finally, the teacher will give up. This guy is useless. Yeah, like that. So the same with the Supreme Lord also. He is always favorably acting with everyone. But if you don't want his relationship, then you act in a unfavorable way, then he also acts in an unfavorable, because that's what you want. So we cannot blame the Supreme Lord for our problems, ultimately. We are very good at that. Because we conclude that we are suffering, therefore it must be the Lord's problem. So here you can see that is not the case, because we become foolish when we become too entangled in the material modes. Okay?
But in the highest state of devotion, devotees sometimes feel Lord is feeling cold, Lord wants this.
That's different. Right? That's different.
That also looks material. He wants something.
Yeah, but that's on a different level. We are talking about how the Lord is partial or not partial. Yeah. So that the Lord is feeling, they are worrying about the Lord. Favorable.
Yeah.
Favorable, unfavorable. Yeah. So that's favorable activities. Devotional activities, favorable. So you execute those that are favorable, not unfavorable, to attract Krishna, of course.
That is happening out of love, right?
That's
So then it is an exchange of love.
Yeah. So it is favorable activity. So just even, it may not even be on love, but they worried, okay, the temperature's dropped, so Krishna may feel cold.
So
It doesn't mean that their Lord is material, but
They
out of
have
love and
the
affection.
relation, and you can see
it's also called some kind of imposition, right?
imposition.
Our imposition of our feelings on that.
Yeah, that's favorable though,
Favorably.
because you're doing it for the Lord's pleasure.
Yeah.
Not doing it for yourself. For yourself, you'll cover yourself and walk home. You're doing it for the Lord. Yeah. So that the activity is for whose pleasure. When we're talking about pure devotion, it's for only Lord's pleasure. The pure devotee is not worried about the self. Yeah. He's more worried about how the Lord feels. So in the purport, the second paragraph, in the middle of it, Srila Prabhupada says, right. The fact is that Krishna is never partial to anyone. He's always equal to everyone. Again, Srila Prabhupada emphasizes this like third or fourth time. But because of imperfect vision, influenced by material qualities. Because now it's about gunas acting on one. One imposes material qualities upon Krishna. So they see him as like themselves. And when one does so, he becomes a fool, Muddha. But it's not the same when a devotee thinks the Lord feels cold. That imposition is different.
Yeah.
Okay. This thing is he's the same like me. So I deserve what I require. Like that. They see him from a material point of view. When one can properly understand the truth, one becomes devoted and nirguna, free from material qualities. So then we won't be influenced by the material. Now remember in the Bhagavad Gita, Icha, Dvasa, Samuddena, Dvanda Mohana, Bharata. Yeah. So there again he says that very clearly. Because of that, they are bewildered. Correct? Because of that, they are bewildered. So free from that, then you won't be in the moha. So that, of course, then you can say, Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mamati. Because then now you know the activities of Krishna is spiritual activities. You accept that. When you accept that, then you are always thinking about Krishna daily, not only during Bhagavatam class or when you go to temple like that. Constantly, you always think he is on a different platform. Oh Lord, I am fallen. I don't know how to serve you. Constantly thinking like that. So then that person is already in the spiritual realm because he's constantly in touch with the Lord. His thinking is like that. Text 7.
Sattvam rajastama iti
Sattvam rajastama iti
prakritirnatmano gunaha
prakritirnatmano gunaha
natesham yugapadrajan
natesham yugapadrajan
rasha ullasa eva va.
rashaullasa eva va.
My dear King Parikshit, the material qualities Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, and Tamo Guna all belong to the material world and do not even touch the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These three gunas cannot act by increasing or decreasing simultaneously. So basically, you know, I have already mentioned how your own life is. Sometimes you're in the mode of goodness, sometimes passion, sometimes. So when you're in the mode of goodness, you are like a demigod, very nice person. Then when you're in the mode of passion, you are like the asuras. Then when you're in the mode of ignorance, you are like rakshasas and yakshas, like that. So that's basically what it is. But those modes are applicable only in those who are in the material, not just in the material. They are trying to enjoy the material energy. But the Lord is not. Okay, He is beyond all this. He is actually the source of this material. So therefore Prabhupada says, Maya Dekshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacha. So he can see, under his supervision, this material nature is working. Not that the material nature is working on him. Under his direction. Not a blade of grass moves without his sanction. So that is important to know. So again, another point is what you're understanding is you're understanding the position of Krishna or Narayana or Vishnu, what their position is. So again, this is in line with what the topic is about, the science of God. How He is able to do many things. Because we are not conscious in our day-to-day life, we cannot see people do all these things. So therefore, we are not familiar with the Lord. We are covered by the material energy. So therefore, it becomes difficult to appreciate His position. This topics in Bhagavatam is to raise that consciousness to understand the position of Krishna. What He can do and He cannot do. What you can do and you can't do. Like that. But the problem is because of the nature of material energy affecting us, we think we know better than the Lord or even the Bhagavatam also. Or some guy wrote it and he wrote that, so how you know it works? Yeah, how do you know it works? So it is through your own experience. It's an experiential science. By following the rules and regulations as propounded by the Lord and the Acharyas, you find that this process works. How do you know? You can see what you were before, you can see what you are now, and you know what you can become. So the process works. Your bad qualities that you have, or even though people say that's not bad, you can say it's not an acceptable quality that I've given up because the process works. So from mode of ignorance, you can become mode of goodness and beyond that. Yeah. So through that, through your own experience, you can talk to people. Yeah. You don't need anything. You don't need an avatar for every individual to be convinced. Yeah. You don't need that. Yeah. So by his supervision, things move in this material. And he has made it very clear in the 7th chapter also. Devi Yesha Gunamai. This energy is under my control. If they surrender to me, they can easily overcome the influence of material energy. But remember, Krishna is never under the material energy. Never. So if anybody asks that question, you have to make it very clear. No need to discuss. Just say he's not under that. He makes it very clear. He's the controller, he's the source of material energy. Finish. Next question. Don't waste your time because then you're just going to waste time. Okay. That's the point in the next verse, text 8.
जयकाले तु सत्त्वस्य
जयकाले तु सत्त्वस्य
देवर्षीन् रजसोऽसुरान्
देवर्षीरसोऽसुरान्
तमसो यक्ष रक्षांसि
तमसो यक्षरक्षांसि
तत्कालानुगुणो भज
तत्कालानुगुणो भजत
Kalanuguno Vajat. Right? When the quality of goodness is prominent, the sages and demigods flourish with the help of that quality, with which they are infused and surcharged by the Supreme Lord. Similarly, when the mode of passion is prominent, the demons flourish, and when ignorance is prominent, the yakshas and rakshasas flourish. The Supreme Personality of God is present in everyone's heart, fostering the reactions of Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, and Tamo Guna. Again, Prabhupada starts the purport saying the Lord is not partial to anyone. The conditions of whether he is a Asura or Sura or Rakshasa or Yaksha, he is the one who's affected. So sometimes the modes are very strong. So therefore, one's victory or loss under the influence of Sattva, Raja, and Tama are reactions of these modes, not of the Supreme Lord's partiality. So similarly, you know that when Indra was offensive to who? Brihaspati. What happened?
He basically ignored his guru.
Yeah. Then
Then the Brihaspati cursed him
yeah.
to take a lowest level of birth, so he became a pig.
Before that, no.
Brihaspati walked out of it.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he actually
Yeah. Then he got. What happened? He lost.
He
lost all his offers.
He lost the kingdom,
Kingdom.
to
No, the demon Rudra.
Bali Maharaj.
Bali Maharaj.
What?
Yeah, Bali Maharaj.
We did that.
Yes.
1 year is too long.
1 year.
So you could see then, even though he is Sura, no, they are supposed to be representing the goodness and so on, they lost. So why didn't Krishna help them? Because why? Bali Maharaj was?
He's a devotee.
Devotee.
He was serving his Guru
Yeah.
very nicely, Sukracharya. And therefore he got the blessings. Remember? You all forgot it. So then because of that, his goodness, his more of goodness or whatever increased. So therefore he got the opportunity to reap the benefit of that. Yeah.
So Bali Maharaj was a devotee at that time, or because he is a Mahajan, so he became Mahajan after getting mercy from Lord.
Yeah, you can
Baba.
say like that. Yeah, you can say like that.
So he was a proper.
He made the
Asura
right
before?
choice, so he was a Mahajan.
I'm sorry.
He made the right choice. When given the choice, his Guru's instruction of the Lord's
Just
request. So he made the choice to please the Lord. So that's why he's a Mahajan. And after that, he got the mercy of the Lord's. So he got all the knowledge, everything. Yeah. Everything. He got everything. Complete satisfaction. Yeah. Right? So that's the difference. So sometimes more of goodness increase, sometimes more of passion will increase, and he'll subdue the goodness and the ignorance, and sometimes the ignorance will increase. So they go in sequence like that. One overcome the other. Krishna mentions this in the Bhagavad Gita also. Right?
Even in the daytime, more of goodness is
Yeah, exactly. Even in the normal 24 hours, different modes will affect us. But one who is in Krishna conscious, he is not affected by the modes because his activities are for the pleasure of the Lord. So it doesn't come under the material jurisdiction. Okay. So Prabhupada quotes from Sandarbha, from Jiva Goswami's Bhagavad Sandarbha. According to this statement of the Bhagavad Sandarbha, the Supreme Lord being always transcendental to the material qualities is never affected by the influence of these qualities. So this is another important point. Even though we know, we always think he is affected. We always think. Now because we are affected, when we read Krishna is sad, we think he's affected by the modes. But that's not the case. Huh? He's not affected by the three modes. Yeah. Okay. So then Prabhupada highlights about the Second World War. In the material world, the pleasure enjoyed by the conditioned soul is followed by many painful conditions. We don't see that. For instance, we have seen that in the two great wars, World War I and II, which were conducted by Rajaguna and Tamoguna, both parties were actually ruined. The German people declared war against the English to ruin them, but the result was that both parties were ruined. Although the Allies were apparently victorious, at least on paper, actually neither of them were victorious. Many people died. Destroyed houses, land, countries, economy. So many people died. Therefore, Prabhupada's point is again very nice. Therefore, it should be concluded that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not partial to anyone. Right?
The lights.
Yeah.
No, God bless America.
No, exactly. Exactly.
I didn't hear it. Sorry, Prabhu.
I said, no, they always say that politicians say, God bless America. What do the rest of the world? Only America.
Only American.
So based on this verse, he's not partial to anyone.
प्रभु एक बात कहूँ इस सेंटेंस को पढ़ के जो प्रभुपाद कंक्लूड कर रहे हैं it's not in English.
Prabhu doesn't understand it.
प्रभु को हिंदी आती है. Prabhu, what they have said here above, Prabhupada said Germans and English people war, and then he has concluded that God is above, not partial to anyone.
Yeah.
I am not seeing direct connection. It is like he's saying that World War II, World War III, that's because now Krishna is not partial. I'm not seeing that connection.
No, the connection you don't see is because you didn't understand that the result was both parties were ruined. So even though someone says the Americans and British, they say they won the war, but actually everyone lost. You know, everything. So there's no such real. In reality, even they won the battle, but they lost so much. So if God was part of that party, then they wouldn't have lost anything.
So God did not favor anyone.
Yeah. So therefore, the conclusion is the Lord didn't favor anyone. The outcome of the result are based on their own karma.
Right, but why would even God get involved with such a mere war?
Because
right?
well, people say that the Americans won because God was on our side.
God bless America.
A lot of people say that. They say God is on our side, so we are victorious in the battle, the jihad, and this and that. That's the conclusion. But actually, the Lord doesn't get involved in such things. Yeah, He's very impartial when it comes to this thing. So He's not partial to anyone in this case. Yeah? And basically, Srila Prabhupada says everyone enjoys the fruits of his qualitative activities, which means your karma. Okay. So then in the three modes, the effect of the three modes, then Krishna talks about them to Arjuna. The manifestations of the modes of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illumined by knowledge. Or Chiva Bharatas, when there's an increase in mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor develop. When there's an increase in the mode of ignorance, or son of Kuru, madness, illusion, inertia, and darkness are manifested. So, the super soul right? Upadrastavantascha. So he is going to give according to your karma. So that's what Srila Prabhupada says. Who's present in everyone's heart simply gives the results of the increase in the various qualities, but he is impartial. According to you, what you desire, he gives. He supervises victory and loss, but he does not take part in them. So similarly, even in the in one sense, you can say he didn't take part in the Mahabharata war also, in one sense. The various modes of material nature do not work all at once. Okay? Yeah, you all know, daytime, different periods of the time, some gunas are stronger. Similarly, when you eat also, you take a lot of chili, then the mode of passion will act. If you take all spoiled food or meat or alcohol, then the mode of ignorance must act. So similarly, they do not work all at once. They all work at different, depending on how you are ready or not, they act on. So sometimes one mode is bigger, sometimes another. So then Prabhupada gives you another understanding of the partiality and the favorability. Generally, the demigods are surcharged with sattva guna, and therefore when the demons and the demigods fight, the demigods are victorious because of the prominence of the sattva guna. So what the point is, if you are in sattva guna, you are
More chances of winning.
more chances of becoming victorious.
From a material point.
Yeah, it's victorious.
It's a higher mode.
It doesn't matter whether it's you're in the good side or the bad side. Okay? So the same case when Indra offended, it was an offense and he was acting in the mode of passion and ignorance, he lost. And whereas Bali Maharaj acted in the mode of goodness and served his guru, and therefore he became victorious. Like in one way you can see.
India is a symbol of Satyameva Jayate, it's goodness.
So understand, no? If you are at least, if you cannot be fully Krishna conscious, at least be in more of goodness. Yeah, so you'll be, at least you won't do the wrong things. But we are not here for that. We want to be Krishna conscious. Text 9.
So far, Prabhupada actually not given the famous example he gives during saying that God is partial to his devotees, because like a father is.
Yeah, that
he has
because
not
Sukadeva Goswami hasn't touched it yet.
Even purpose Prabhupada.
Yeah, no,
but
because-
Bhagavad Gita says that.
Yeah, because it's a different thing. Here, because out of respect, right? Sometimes devotees like to, when they give a class, they'll speak all the verses, even though they're not touching it. So the next speaker will say, "What have I got to speak?" So here, Sukadeva Goswami hasn't said it. Prabhupada's out of Acharya, he's respecting and he's giving the understanding. Because all the different acharyas like Vishwanath Chakra, Sridhar Swami, they also just touch on
Stick
what
to
his
the
topic is. Yeah, to highlight those points. So he's showing in how many ways the Lord is not impartial. Yeah, like that. Right, text 9.
Jyotirpadir iva bhati
Jyotirpadir iva bhati
Sanghatan na vivichyate
Sanghatan na vivichyate
Vidanti atmanam atmastam
Vidanti atmanam atmastam
Matitva kavayonyataha
Matitva kavayonyataha
Antataha. The all-pervading personality of Godhead exists within the heart of every living being. So this is the super soul. And an expert thinker can perceive how he is present there to a large or small extent, just as one can understand the supply of fire in wood, the water in a water pot, or the sky within a pot. One can understand whether a living entity is a demon or a demigod by understanding that living entity's devotional performances. A thoughtful man can understand how much a person is favored by the Supreme Lord by seeing his actions. So you can tell, very simple, who is doing their homework, who's not doing their homework, who is chanting properly, who's not chanting, because you can see by their results. There's no other things. It's very straightforward. Who is even with the children also, you can see which child is going to be okay, which is not after a certain age. And you shouldn't be disappointed because that's the nature of the child, and you try to encourage them in that way. If you try to change their nature, you can't. It's going to be disastrous. Yeah, it's going to end up with a lot of problems. So you can't change the nature. But if they use it in the service of Krishna, then it becomes favorable. It becomes transcendental. Like Hanuman, he wanted to, use his anger. So what did he do?
Burnt Lanka.
He burned Lanka. So that was the way he used his anger. But otherwise, he was, when he was young, he was very mischievous, and then he was destroying everything. So when the sages said, let him forget all this thing, and when he knew how to use, he used it properly, in the service of Ram. Like that. So similarly, you can see when a person is demon or demigod, based simply on their qualities or guna. Okay. So it's based on guna karma, not janma karma. Yeah, sometimes it's that. Just like Bali Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, they were born in Asura Kula, but they are not demons. They are suras. So it's not based on janma, but rather on guna and karma. So you can see that, understand the devotional entities, devotional performance. A living entity's devotional performance. Then you know this person is a demon. So even if you may be a devotee, your child don't want to pray to Krishna, you can say this is a potential demon here. Yeah. So hopefully when they grow older, they will change. But otherwise, demon means not in the bad sense. You should understand they are maybe asuras. Right? Sometimes people will cry, oh, my child is like, well, what can you do by crying? You can't change it. Huh? You can't change. You have to accept that, okay, this person is never going to worship Krishna. So, but you be favorable to them, give them prasadam, and then they may be okay. They may not fight you so much. Yeah. But if you try to do brain surgery, then it will become difficult. Then they will fight with you. Yeah. Right? So you have to be very, very
Tolerant.
astute in the way you deal with people also. The more you read the Shastra, then you can easily identify who's going to be favorable or not favorable. It's a science, but you can pick it up. So then you can say, oh, this person, So you act nicely to them and they like that, they can become favorable. They may not take the process sometimes, but sometimes you never know. They may even become a good devotee. Yeah. So the potential is there in every living entity according to the gunas they want to associate with. So even though someone may be in the mode of ignorance, but if they are always with the sadhus, they will be doing only activities that the sadhus ask them to do. So they become advanced. Like that. Yeah, you can say kripa, whatever. Yeah. So based on a person's nature and how they act, you can then say the Lord is favoring that person. Because as a super soul, he is going to say, yes, do this more and do this like that. Yeah. So whether he's to large or less extent means in the statements present there to a large or small extent. That means when they are very favorable to Krishna, that means the Lord is there in a large extent. When they are less favorable, then it's to a lesser extent the Lord is existing in there. But still, he's a super soul is still there. But it's not like he's favoring this person or not. He's favoring according to how they are reciprocating and then taking up the nature or doing devotional service. So Prabhupada writes, according to the Bhagavad Gita, before that he says, therefore, he says before that, we have the practical experience of seeing that one person is able to do very wonderful things, whereas another cannot do those same things and cannot even do things that require only a little common sense. So in the beginning when Prabhupada came, his devotees, disciples, some of them don't know what to do. So he was saying only a little common sense. Therefore, how much a devotee has been favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be tested by the activities the devotee has performed. So you see what they have done. So Bhagavad Gita 10:10, Teisam Sadatam Yuktana Vajatam Priti Purvakam Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yenamam Upayanti.
Krishna gives the intelligence.
So I give them the understanding by which they can come to who? To those who are
Always devoted and worship Krishna.
constantly devoted. Not 1-2 days you do arti, third day forget it. Or offer one day, or offer once. Every Janmashtami I offer. Sounds a lot, no? But actually once a year. So that's how it is. So therefore, they are not constantly devoted. They are only devoted because they want some fruitive things, right? So there's a different. Devotion means you are concerned about their pleasure. Okay. So constantly devoted means constantly thinking of what Krishna needs, his pleasure. So becoming pure devotee is not easy. You have to do a lot, and you require a lot of mercy also. And for such a person who's dedicated in wanting to love him and worship him, he gives the understanding. Then he gives the understanding. Therefore, you may be practicing for many 40, 30 years, but because you don't have the desire to actually serve Krishna in that mood, he's not going to give that. You may have to come back a few more lifetimes to realize that aspect of it. Okay, so that's why Dadami Buddhi Yoga. That means this guy really wants me. So, okay, I'll give him some more understanding. If the intensity is not there, then why he bothers? Then he becomes impartial. But when the desire to approach him, that's the partiality. Okay, you want to know me more, you want to love me, so I'll teach you now. Dadami Buddhi Yenamam Upayanti. Then it's easy for you to come. So again, Srila Prabhupada is a teacher instructs the student, if the student is capable of taking more and more instructions, right? Otherwise, the teacher will say, "Oh, thank you, see you next week." Otherwise, in spite of being instructed by a teacher, the student cannot make strides in his understanding. This has nothing to do with partiality. So same with Krishna. Okay, you are Asura now, so I can't do anything. Next time, come back. Next life, we'll continue the lessons. So, as I mentioned, Satatam Yukta Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. That means Prabhupada also writes that this indicates that Krishna is prepared to give Bhakti Yoga to everyone, but one must be capable of receiving it. Right? So, question is, are you interested or not?
Open-minded to let.
No, this is not the commercial open-minded.
No. In the sense, like, you should be willing to absorb what is given.
Yeah, it's like the world economy. If you want everyone to have equal chances, then you can't have too much tariffs going on. Can't be protectionist like that. So the same way, if you want to receive it, you have to reciprocate. Yeah. So Prabhupada says that is the secret. So he's giving you a secret. You want to go back to Godhead? There's a secret. No need to read anymore. All right. Then Prabhupada, again, it's very interesting how he writes these sentences in these purports. Thus, when a person exhibits wonderful devotional activities, a thoughtful man understands that Krishna has been more favorable to this devotee. Not that he is never favorable, more favorable.
It appears
Yes.
God is more favorable.
Yes, it's more favorable. That's all. It's just a scale. He's favorable little by little, more and more. That's all. Yeah. So Prabhupada then says, this is not difficult to understand. But envious persons do not accept that Krishna has bestowed his favor upon a particular devotee in accordance with his advanced position. So the advanced position is how much you want to
Please Krishna.
please Krishna. That's all. That's all. It's very simple. So if you want to please, then you will do extra. Otherwise, you can keep fighting and staying in this world. come back again and again. Nothing else. Yeah. And you become envious when someone is making advancement. Okay. And then so Prabhupada says such foolish persons become envious and try to minimize and advance devotees' activity. So you see that, oh, you know what, he's doing this, but he's also doing something else. You say that, so common in ISKCON. They always put down some Maharaj or sannyasi or some devotee like that. Oh yeah, but you know, he's good, yeah, but he has this problem. Like that. So Prabhupada says that is not Vaishnavism. Again, yeah. So we have to also think, you know, who are we to judge others? Irregardless, you know, Abhichit, Sudaraj, Bhajate, So you have to understand, you know, that a person may fall down sometime or may do some mistakes, but you have to see their devotion. The qualification is the devotion, how fixed they are in their devotion. People make mistakes. Everybody makes mistake. It's interesting. When you make a mistake, you want the whole world to be merciful to you. But when someone else makes a mistake, you want to attack them and destroy them. Right? You bring your Trishula. You know? Huh? It's true, right? So therefore you can understand that's not Vaishnava. Yeah. Our Vaishnava. So then Prabhupada, again, these are very important things. It refreshes your understanding. A Vaishnava should appreciate the service rendered to the Lord by other Vaishnavas. Whether small or big, it's okay. You know? Don't always say, oh, he didn't do more. It's not for you. It's for the Guru to tell. Okay. As maybe if you are the temple president, you can tell. Yeah. Yeah. But others should just shut up, you know. Because that's his job. He needs to rally the people to help out. Yeah. So, therefore, devotees should be known as Nirmatsara. Correct? Means non-envious. Yes. Nirmatsaranam satam. Satam means always, or you can say also
Satam means devotees.
Devotees on the mode of goodness. Devotees, generally it refers to devotees, Satam also.
Prabhuji, I have a question. Not like envious and like, actually I take my condition before I started Krishna consciousness, where I had my health very good. I used to do so many services, but right now because of the health issue, I was not able to do as many services as then, but I still, whatever my heart says, whatever my health permits, I try to do it. But still, I feel envious about myself, about that condition. And why is Krishna not giving me? So, how to think that it is Krishna's mercy now? I could not relate. So,
well, you should think that what happens if you cannot do any service? Right? Let's say your health has become worse, then you will think at least do something, right? So you should think, wow, he's so lucky, he's so wonderful, he's allowing me to do this service now. So I should not let him take it away from me. Think like that. Instead of thinking, oh, I should be doing more. That is good also, but then if it's affecting your consciousness, best to think, Krishna is so kind, he has allowed me to do this. In this condition, I'm in like that.
But is Krishna pleased with me right now?
Are the devotees pleased with you? If the devotees, in general, that's the best way to gauge your service. If the devotees and the temple president is happy, then you should be happy.
Krishna happy.
Remember,
somebody has to be happy with.
But remember, the temple president takes reactions also. Because he's taking care of so many people. So if some people are cheating or doing nonsense, and if he's merciful to them, he has to take some reaction. So therefore, everyone should help.
His very name suggests Durga. Durga Prasad.
Prasad.
Damodar.
No, Damodar.
Damodar.
I know.
But Prabhu, in higher position, Uttama Adhikari, they sees even equally. Even
That's-
though they are not at that level, they will show their compassion to them, right? So then why should they be worried about, they should be getting the reaction of someone else?
But that's different. She's talking about if she's doing service and she can't do later on and
Right.
she's feeling.
No, that thing is clear.
Yeah.
Your point that when temple president takes the reaction, if he is merciful to the person who is cheating, so I'm pointing to that one, like Uttama Adhikaris, they give compassion to everyone, right?
I don't know what your. I don't understand your question actually. I don't understand what you're talking
You
about.
just now said that temple president takes reaction.
Yes, anyone in authority will take reaction
Take reaction if someone under him is cheating
or doing some nonsense.
or some nonsense. So I'm saying person in higher position, like an Uttama Adhikari, they give compassion to all, to Kanishthaka Adhikari.
Yeah,
and
that's
all.
different. Let's say your guru is initiating and then the disciple is not following. In the beginning, the guru will also, try to encourage them, and he's taking the reaction. So that is their compassion. But it's only up to a certain level. Either Krishna will intervene or they will have to reject the disciple. Yeah. But in all cases, the purification will act. Yeah. But we are not at the Uttama Adhikari platform in general. So we cannot say, I will take everyone. So we have to be careful also. So as a temple president, if he finds out, then he has to be very strict with them. So you can't do this. Talk to your guru, or let's see how we can help you. Okay, you come Mangala Arati every day and chant your rounds. I want you to tell me your report. So that's the way you help them. That's the mercy. Not like, oh, okay, mercy, okay. Doesn't work like that. It's all a movie, Bollywood movie. That's what they do. Oh, okay, Krishna. This is not like. We have to be watch things carefully, supervise things properly, and guide people. That's a mercy of them. Even Uttama Adhikari, like Prabhupada, didn't tolerate many things. Yeah. He told them, correct yourself, okay, go and do service. That's it. So the instruction of the guru is there. They have to correct themselves. Yeah. He didn't say, okay, you can continue sinning and okay. He never said that. And then it becomes aparat, offense. Which one? 8th offense. 7th offense. Strength of? Strength of chanting the holy name. So we can't do that. Right? Yeah. Right. So Prabhupada then continues. In the examples given herewith, fire represents the mode of goodness. One can understand the constitution of a container for wood, petrol, other inflammable substances by the quantity of the fire. Similarly, water represents Rajaguna, the mode of passion. A small skin and the vast Atlantic Ocean both contain water. And by seeing the quantity of water in a container, one can understand the size of the container. A sky represents the mode of ignorance. The sky is present in a small earthen pot and also in outer space. Thus, by proper judgment, one can see who is a devata or demigod and who is an asura, yaksha or rakshasa, according to the quantities of sattva guna, rajo guna, and tamo guna. One cannot judge whether a person is a devata, an asura, or a rakshasa by seeing him, but a sane man can understand this by the activities such a person performs. So don't go and sit in the temple room and look at the congregation and say, asura. Don't do that. That's the point is you see how well they want to serve. After a while, then you can. Then again, you shouldn't do it. Let the higher authorities say. This, you be careful because you don't want to commit offenses. Point is, Prabhupada's point is, you can tell this person is favorable or not favorable. That's the idea. Yeah. So then you can guide people who are more favorable, and those who are not favorable, you just give them prasadam. Or you can tell, can you help me carry something? That's service, indirect service. So you give them some agyata sukriti, like that. So hopefully they can benefit from those activities. So Prabhupada then defines from Bhatma Purana, Vishnu Bhakta Smrito Daiva Asurastad Viparjayaya. A devotee of Lord Vishnu is a demigod, whereas an Asura or Yaksha is just the opposite. An Asura is not a devotee of Lord Vishnu. Instead, for his sense gratification, he is a devotee of the demigods, Bhutas, Pretas, and so on. Thus, one can judge who is a Devata and who is a Rakshasa and who is an Asura by how they conduct their activities. So, based on that, you can say, they are worshipping demigod, they are Asuras, you can say. But you don't go and tell them you are Asura. You have to be careful because they may think they are very pure-hearted, and they may be. They may be. So you have to be careful. Just because Prabhupada wrote here, and it may be fact also what Prabhupada says, but you are not. You don't have the adhikar to call another person Asura or this or that. Right? Everyone must have a qualification. Yeah. If you're an old man and then you call a young person, they will just tolerate. But if you're a young person calling an old man, you Asura, it's very difficult. They may be, but you shouldn't do that. Because that's also part of preaching and behavior. Okay. So based on our desires and our abilities, the Lord in the heart directs us accordingly. Basically, it's your desire. What you desire, what you associate with, and the Lord then guides you accordingly. And Prabhupada says, although the Gita says Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, indicating that Krishna spoke, they cannot understand Krishna. A lot of people don't understand. They read, but they don't know. This is due to their misfortune or incapability, which is caused by Rajaguna and Tamoguna. So try to understand, they are in the mode. So it's very hard for them to accept Krishna. So instead of fighting with them, you should smile at them and give them prasadam. Or engage them in some indirect service like that. Don't think you are the next acharya. Sometimes you would spend 1 hour with the guy and then you don't see the guy for the next 5 years. You lost the guy. So you have to be careful. Just don't spend. If you find they are not happy or whatever, then either you become their counselor or you give them prasadam and tell them to come next week. We'll discuss more. Yeah. You have to be very expert. So try to learn slowly. Right. Because not everyone is in the category of Arjuna. Like that. They are not. So we have to be very careful. All right. By external features, Prabhupada says one cannot understand who is favored by Krishna and who is not. So you cannot say this guy look ugly, so he's not Krishna Bhakta. Like that. It's true. We go by looks a lot of the time. So we should be very careful. According to one's attitude, Krishna becomes one's direct advisor or Krishna becomes unknown. If you want Krishna, he reveals. If you are not interested, you don't. So when we preach or we discuss, we ask people how they like the program. Are they interested in something about the discussion that was made in the class, or do they want to talk like that? If they're not interested, then you ask them what they do, or you can start with what they do, what work they do, and then you can say, how was the class? Anything that touched you that you want to discuss? Otherwise, they think you are there just to get some donation. And then also not good. Once you have a friendly relationship, then you can ask anything. But before that, don't just ask. Then they will think I'm paying, so I expect something.
Business deal.
Business deal. Oh, you give, we'll pray for you. You're already making a contract, you know. So this is not Krishna's partiality according to your guna and so on. It is his response to one's ability to understand him. Okay, according to one's receptiveness, whether one be a devata, asura, yaksha, or rakshasa, Krishna's quality is proportionately exhibited. This proportionate exhibition of Krishna's power is misunderstood by less intelligent men to be Krishna's partiality. But actually it is no such thing. Krishna is equal to everyone, and according to one's ability to receive the favor of Krishna, one advances in Krishna consciousness. So we know from the nectar of devotion, the favor of Krishna comes through the
His representative.
Eagerness.
yes, the representative
Basically,
to the
once-
mercy of a devotee, to the mercy of Krishna directly sometime, or
Guru. That's what she said.
that's a devotee of Krishna.
Once laulyam, basically the
One's
desire-
eagerness,
eagerness to achieve
eagerness
power.
to hear about Krishna like that. How do you know first time they hear about Krishna they are attracted? So that eagerness is there. So then they become qualified like that. So one's receptiveness, right? So how do you become receptive? You must be at least in the mode of goodness. So now you understand why it is favorable to be in the mode of goodness. Because then when you hear Krishna, you become attracted. Yeah. Or the devotee comes and gives you some mercy.
Accept.
Yeah. Or your faith in that comes from previous life through Agyata Sukriti.
That's
Okay. Remember I mentioned Agyata Sukriti takes many years, lifetimes. Maybe you 100,000 million lifetimes, then you have the faith to accept Krishna. So then Krishna reciprocates. Okay, you are interested. Now I'll give you a guru, I'll give you a devotee like that. Right? Yashya prasada, bhagavad prasada, yashya prasada, nagati kuto. Yeah. So therefore, you cannot judge someone externally, but actually through their receptiveness towards Krishna consciousness, then you should know they are favored by Krishna. The receptiveness. Wow, this guy is this. So this person is favored by Krishna. So then Vishwanath Chakravarti, he quotes Prabhupada example here. In the sky there are many luminaries, there means many shiny things. At night, even in darkness, the moon is extremely brilliant and can be directly perceived. The sun is also extremely brilliant. When covered by clouds, however, these luminaries are not distinctly visible. Similarly, the more one advances in Sattva Guna, the more his brilliance is exhibited by devotional service. See, there's a correlationship. But it's not that because of Sattva Guna you become devotee. No. But there is a correlation. Because they become more attracted to and they take up the service. But the more one is covered by Rajaguna and Tamaguna, it's very hard for them to take up the devotional activities. Yeah. Because the modes are very strong in the lower modes. The visibility of one's qualities does not depend on the partiality of the Supreme Lord.
Depends on his covering.
Yeah, it is due to various coverings in different proportions. Thus, one can understand how far he has advanced in terms of Sattva Guna and how much is covered by Rajaguna and Tamaguna. So you can see whether your mode of goodness. Based on your mode of goodness, you know this is good for me. Krishna consciousness, that's what the point is. Then you take it up. If you can't take it up, that means you are in the Rajaguna or Tamaguna. So now you should then declare, I am not
More of goodness.
yeah, more of goodness. That's why I'm not taking up the process.
Seriously.
So that this should be very clear now. That it's not. But by associating with devotee, you should get the qualification. That's the mercy of the devotees. Okay. I will continue this modes tomorrow because Okay. Questions, comments? Yes, Pandit. Thank you for
The lecture.
Oh, lecture, more like discussion. And you have anything wise to add? No.
Actually, I had one small
Yes, I
question.
thought so.
So basically, like whenever for example, today I was reading the fourth canto in the Srimad Bhagavatam.
You have to speak slowly because I'm in the mode of ignorance.
Louder, slow.
So I was reading the fourth canto,
Hmm.
and it was saying that like Dhruva Maharaj, he was thinking, that's why, like even the great sages, the great Kumars by Sanaka, and they never attain they take it like a lot of time to get to shelter of Lord's feet. So why do people usually like say different names for like the Kumars are headed by one like. They say one. Sometimes they say Sanat Kumar, and the other time they say Sanakat, and they say Sanat, and they say Sanat.
Are you sure they say a different person?
Yeah.
Usually they always say Sanat Kumar is the oldest among the four.
Yeah, but Dhruva Maharaj said Sanat Kumar, and like one. Like, I remember another person about.
Sometimes it may be because I'm not sure. It could be that personality was instructing that individual. So among the four, one person may have been the spokesperson. So then they glorify the spokesperson, headed by this person, like that. Okay, I'm guessing that's what it is. Unless you can show me several instances that different persons, then I'll have to think. Yeah, but okay. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Prabhuji, like it's very hard to be always in Sattva Guna. So, when we have the Raja and Tamo, so how can we come back to Sattva Guna? So, what is the process? Is there any process?
Yeah, there is. It's called sadhana bhakti.
Like it's a long process. So
No,
I
you
want
just
a
do-
quick and short and sweet. Also, go.
It doesn't work like that. Yeah, you do sadhana every day, then you'll become more and more in the mode of goodness and eventually transcendental goodness. Yeah. That means getting up early in the morning, even though you may be difficult, get up. Even though you may be sick sometimes, but still get up. Unless you've got fever, then you have to rest. That's okay. But that's the idea. You constantly do that, and the modes cannot touch you. But because we give in to the modes keep harassing us. Yeah, it's not like you go there and plug in the wall and recharge goodness. Like it doesn't apply like that. The process is given. So Prabhupada also has mentioned that if you just do the sadhana bhakti but you don't want to connect with Krishna, you only end up in a mode of goodness. You'll probably end up in heavenly planets. So you don't want to end up in heavenly planets because then you have to come back. Okay, so better you always do things for Krishna. If you're in the mode of ignorance, even if we tell you don't do, you won't listen. No? Right? Yeah. So therefore, you practice the sadhana bhakti properly, then you'll get intelligence when you're doing something foolish. It'll come in your mind.
Whatever we do, if we go to school for some volunteer help, and we should think that this is the service I'm doing for Krishna.
Yes.
So this is how can we connect our passion or something towards this
Yes. Yeah. You can do like that also. But to think like that, you must do your sadhana bhakti. That's my point. If you're not doing sadhana bhakti, it's very hard to, I'm
get
doing.
that point.
Yeah. It won't act on your intelligence. Because sadhana bhakti purifies you. Cheto darpana marjanam, even your heart is purified. The consciousness is purified. So you see things differently. As you advance, you'll see things differently. Yes.
So, is correcting the kids also a Vaishnava brother because they are also Vaishnavas.
Did they tell you or are you asking?
He's telling me you cannot change
So
my
when they tell you, then it's not.
You cannot change this.
If they tell you, it's
my
not.
nature. You cannot
they-
change my
nature.
nature.
If they
Was
tell
telling,
you,
right?
if they tell you something as a parent, then you know it doesn't.
Should not
As a parent, you have to correct them in something. So that is part of the Vaishnava training.
parental duty.
Yeah, it's your duty. The children nowadays are very intelligent, so they'll use Shastra against.
Against you.
So I had another question. I had a question. So I wanted to understand what conscience means. Is conscience the super soul? Is that what we have to listen to? So is the conscience called super soul? I don't know how to ask.
No, the super soul is the Lord Himself.
Mm-hmm.
He's in your heart.
But we listen to our conscience, right? When we make
Yeah,
decisions.
that could be your mind.
Our intelligence, right?
It
But
could be your
how do we
mind, not the
define-
intelligence. The mind.
No. But mind sometimes will not know how to discriminate, right? Whether you're doing the
Yeah,
right thing or
then
not.
the mind is, because the mind is not under control, then it will use the intelligence to tell you how to do.
Then what is the difference? Then what is super soul doing?
Super soul is permitting you to do your nonsense.
He'll be watching that like a
But you're saying super soul also is a guiding force there, right?
If you want to be Krishna conscious.
like the two parrots. You remember the two parrots?
Mhm.
Example. One will be watching.
No, I don't.
Now listen, if you want to do nonsense, then the Lord will,
So you call super soul as a permitter only?
yeah, he doesn't interfere with your decisions.
But if you ask for help, he'll
Then
definitely.
that's different. Then he'll send someone to talk to you. The super soul now manifests externally. He's talking through someone because you are not ready to listen from your heart. Sometimes you do nonsense, you feel your heart jump. Then you know you shouldn't do, but you still do. So then someone comes and tells you don't do. So you should understand someone is telling me not to do.
Okay.
So unless you're in the mode of goodness, you won't accept those person telling.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to understand what this conscience thing means then, because
Why is
a lot of times I like to listen to my conscience, right? Because I just feel that I probably know myself better and I know what kind of decision I'm making, whether it is favorable to me and whether it is favorable to the
So-
opposite party.
So therefore, so far you've been all favorable decisions?
No.
Okay, so therefore,
So my conscience pricks me, right? When I'm doing something wrong.
yeah. So therefore you should understand you don't have good intelligence also.
No, I have the intelligence. That's why I'm regretting, right? Based on my mistakes.
No, you should understand by now, if you make mistakes, that means you don't have perfect intelligence.
Nobody does, no, for that matter.
No, people can have perfect intelligence if you follow Krishna.
Okay, but then what is super soul doing at that time? I mean, what I don't understand is I want to listen to the super soul and do things.
You're
according
not
to-
ready to listen to Super Soul. That's what we are trying to tell you. You're not qualified yet to listen to the Super Soul.
No, but if it is in my heart that I
You
want
cannot
to,
listen because you are listening to your mind at this stage. You're not purified enough. Well, you have to listen to authorities. You have to listen to Shastra. You have to listen to people who are guiding you. You're not ready to listen to your super soul, so-called super soul. It's the mind in disguise.
Okay.
Your mind is acting like your super soul. Actually, your mind is your guru, and then you're thinking you're doing right. So when it's a little bit goodness, you're happy. When it's a little bit in tamaguna, you're unhappy. So you're basically in the modes. Yeah. So you have to now surrender to someone. Then you'll find how difficult it is to control your mind. It'll rebel.
Right, that's
So
true.
once you get purified, then you can see the super soul. According, if the super soul wants to reveal himself, that's up to him. Yeah. In general, we practicing Krishna consciousness. We don't say, okay, I heard something from Krishna, and this is what he told me to do. So everyone will be telling me something. It's like I was doing Aarti one time, then at noon puja, so 12:30 I closed the curtain. So this Mataji came at 12:35. I was putting the deities to rest. She was saying, open the curtain, open. I said, no. I said, what is it? She said, I was driving and I got stuck in the traffic jam. Then I said, I'm sorry, the deities are already resting now. She said, no. I was driving, the Lord told me he's waiting for me.
His height.
I was thinking I should tell her the Lord told me he wants to sleep.
I was thinking about the same answer.
But I decided, okay. I said, no, sorry. So that's how it is. So people think like that. And you are saying the same thing. Yeah. No, you're not at that platform.
But practically, like say somebody in a dire need like that, somebody comes just misses the darshan by 1 minute. What are you supposed to do? The person is going away.
It depends. If you haven't put the deities to rest, then you can open.
You just close the curtain.
Yeah, then you can open. Just close.
Practical.
Be practical. Yeah. But if you have put them to rest, then they want to open.
Yeah.
Who are you? Yeah. But sometimes, yeah, if they are, going to die and so on, yeah, maybe it's okay. You can ask them, are you dying? Or if they are, like you say, won't come back again, this saying goodbye. Yeah, then it's up to you. Yeah. Yeah, so you need to take a direction from someone who can direct you. Then you will know it's not your mind telling you. Otherwise, what's the proof? How do you know your super soul is talking to you, or is your intelligence?
Not like that. Like I thought that okay, when the conscience breaks, that means it's like
not
super soul telling that okay, what you did was not correct.
It could be your mind. Right? What is the proof? Yeah. So you ask the authorities, I'm feeling like that. What do you say? Then the super soul can speak through them. Chaitya Guru. Right? Chaitya Guru. External manifestation becomes your Siksha or Diksha Guru. Yeah.
Okay. And so we had some latent desires, let's say, from our previous births.
Yes.
Or whatever, right? And we're not able to control those desires. Although we want to stay in this moment, some desires are there that are so attractive, so powerful that it just overwhelms us. I mean, it overpowers us, right? How do we kill those desires then without even letting it manifest?
You have to associate more. You have to give more time to devotee association. You have to do more devotional activities with the devotees. It's not just, again, it's not a quick solution. This, you have to show Krishna that you want to give it up. It's not like, oh, I'm asking this wonderful question, but I'm not going to take any action. The Lord's in your heart. He knows you're not going to do it. So he's not going to bother. He says you're not ready yet. When you're ready, when you really want to give up, then let's talk. Yeah, it's like having a contract, You want to buy a property, but you keep putting the days off. The guy says, look, either you come and sit today and sign the contract or get out. Right? So same thing, the Lord is...
But at the same time, if Maya is so powerful, sometimes we can get detract, right? We can get distracted.
Maya is just doing her job.
Yeah, but
you are making the choice.
That's what I'm saying. When it is like that so attractive that
So
sometimes
who's
you cannot
making the
resist the temptation, right?
Unless you associate properly, you cannot make proper decision.
True.
Yeah, so if your choice of association is bad, then you're always going to make bad choices. We just read the gunas. So it is up to you. If you understand now that you need to make some changes in your life, then you have to change. All right? You have to change. Then you have to associate differently. But if you can't, then you'll never make that choice of becoming...
It's now or never.
Yeah. And you don't have much time. Yeah, Prabhupada said, someone said, what is old, right? He said, if the baby dies in 2 days after birth, then he's older than me.
Yeah.
Prabhupada. Right. So that's his old. His old age is 2 days. Yeah, so we cannot keep on saying, oh, I'll get a second chance. Third chance. Second chance is only for Ajamil. Yeah, and the result of that is what our chance is. So we better at least do the right thing. Yeah. So if you do that, I'm telling you, those who do that in this movement sincerely for Prabhupada, they usually go back to Godhead in this lifetime.
the escalator mode,
Yeah.
not the elevator mode.
Yeah, so if you want that, you come. Otherwise, you can go. Your choice. You've been here for too long. So don't waste your life. Choices and choices. They're all temporary, Mother. All your choices. Material choices are temporary. What joy do you really get? Right? Something new and flashy only lasts so long. That's all.
So if you volunteer outside, like for other activities which are related to your daughter, like she said, school activities or anything like that, which is outside of the realm of the temple activities. So how much do we encourage that then?
Depends on the nature of those activities, you know. It's part of the curriculum, school activities, then yeah, they need to go, then yeah, sure. But if it's like, you know, going to senior prom and nonsense like that, then you don't need to encourage those things. Yeah. You have to see, but anyway, you can't really control your daughters after a certain age. They are their own individual beings. So the point I'm saying is your choice for yourself.
For myself, right?
Yes.
In my life.
What is your Krishna consciousness? Yeah. What were you 5 years ago? How much have you changed in 5 years since then? And how much will you change 5 more years? Are you still
snail face right
yeah?
now.
So then, what is the value of your choices? You have to ask yourself, in your career wise, you have made good choices to make good career choice. So why not this? This is a permanent solution. Those are temporary solutions. Right?
But Krishna also made it easy, right? Tesham satata yaktanam.
Yeah, but the choice you must want to remember. You must want to serve Krishna. Then he gives you that knowledge.
So if you start something that can become bigger and bigger.
Yeah, but the input, your intention must be correct. Right? Krishna will guide you, but if you halfway through you give up, then he won't. It may take some time. Unless you have special mercy, then Krishna will talk through Chintamani and ask you to come back.
Mataji does every Sunday, all the deities, jewelry and everything.
Just glorify small actions. Temple president, right?
and Monday morning, all the puja is
good. You get some mercy.
He's taking with the reactions also.
No. Ask Amagaru. Monday morning we bless her, right? We arrange all these things. We find everything in time.
Only Monday.
Only Monday.
So these are the culprits. The reaction he has to take actually. Because they mess it all up. I create, I maintain, they analyze.
But Saturday, everything is
Krishna. Saturday is back. Listening to her conscience.
Anyway, take it seriously. Take initiation. Don't waste your life.
So chanting is another big challenge, Prabhu. Right?
Then make it a big one.
No, it's so hard.
It's
like
not
I
hard.
just cannot take the beats in my hand.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
I can. I mean, like it's just I don't know why it's. I just don't get attracted, you know. To the,
That's why I say you have to associate more. And listen to, how much do you listen to Prabhupada's classes?
That's again inconsistent. Right?
Yeah,
Sometimes I do like a marathon will go, and then suddenly I get deviated, and that's it. It stops.
Yeah, you're like wave.
Yeah.
So you make a plan, listen to Prabhupada's class, at least one class a day. And then you'll see it will affect you favorably. Okay.
Jai.
Thank you.
Srila Prabhupada.
You know the password?
What is that?
For his laptop password, we have to stop the recording.
Oh, I don't know.
Just turn it off.
Just power it up.
I just, yeah.
Very deep. Oh, otherwise it will not stay.
No, it will say. It's a live broadcast.
I don't know.
It's live broadcast.
I gave the suggestion like power it.